Yeah, there is a very big change, very big. Because before, you see, if there could not be this organization, after myself I use, I can just throw to the street. But now they are one place, they come and pick.
I understand they have a project called the TakaTaka Solutions, and actually, just as the name implies, they are so, because they have given the solutions of the TakaTaka, the garbage heaps that used to lie outside there are no longer there. So these men have been collecting the garbage. They have improved the cleanliness of the market, and we are so happy. We are quite happy with these people because the solution has been found.
TakaTaka Solutions is a waste management enterprise in Nairobi, and TakaTaka means waste in Kiswahili. If you look at the waste management situation in Nairobi, out of 3.5 million inhabitants, 2.5 million can't afford waste collection services. The reason being is that the public sector, so the City Council of Nairobi, just simply doesn't have the technical or financial means to provide waste collection services for all its residents. So to give you an example, they only have 8 waste collection trucks for 3.5 million people, so that's insufficient. And private sector companies just collect to dispose. They don't recycle, they don't compost, they don't separate waste. So clients have to incur the full disposal cost, which is why it's too expensive for most people. TakaTaka Solutions is working with the Siemens Stiftung on waste separation, and this partnership has been really essential for TakaTaka Solutions because waste separation is at the core of the business model. If clients, if that's households, supermarkets, if it's a market stall, are not separating their waste into different fractions, it's simply not possible to process it further into compost or into plastics or other kinds of recyclables, and that makes the business model not viable. So waste separation is really crucial. And the project focuses with the Siemens Stiftung on 2 aspects. So on the one hand, it's training modules. So how can we train households in waste separation? Who do we need to train? Is it children? Is it the women in the households? And how can also youth, so the youth groups involved in the franchising system, how can they train and how can they be trained and then train themselves, their clients, which are the households. So it's a 2-level system. And on the other hand, we're investing into infrastructure, so into the physical bins that need to be adapted to the local context of Nairobi and especially to the context of lower income areas, so that it makes sense and it's easy for people to separate, and the bins suit their spatial needs, so they're small enough and big enough, they're easy to handle, they're easy to be emptied by youth groups. So all those aspects are important, so we're developing specific new refuse bins as part of the project. We have set up a franchising system with youth groups in lower income areas. We started the pilot operations in late October 2011. So the idea is to kind of test our operations and the business model on a small scale for 1 year and see if all the parameters work. See that we can work with youth groups in a professional way, see that we can source enough waste, see that we can process and sell organic fertilizer, and see that we can convince clients and train them to separate their waste.
I'm a resident of this plot, and before they used to give us black polyethylene papers, which is not environment friendly. But now, because they have come with the small buckets, where now we dispose our wastage after use, and they also educated us on how we have to separate the waste use.
And what we are doing, we are learning from the things that will work, and that is what we'll transfer to the other youth groups. So basically what we'll train the youths on is on how to do marketing. So we'll have a training module just on marketing and train them how they acquire clients, how they train them on waste separation. And then we will go and also train them on how they manage themselves as a group, how they manage their finances, how they train their clients at the household, at the market, and the restaurants to separate their waste into different fractions.
At the moment, we are collecting around 5 tons of organic waste per day. The youth group has employed around 16 people on a full-time level, and they are collecting waste from around 2,000 households, so that's more or less 10,000 people every week. The youth groups collect source-separated waste in lower income areas, in slums, and then they have small waste transfer point where they take the different fractions to.
I think TakaTaka Solution is bringing solutions to basically to the youth group, because the youth group will save a lot of money, because a youth group collects all the waste together and then take it for disposal. And among the major costs the youth group incurs is on transportation of the waste to the dump site. But now they will have 80% of the waste recycled. They'll have plastics to sell. They'll have organic waste to sell to TakaTaka Solution. That leaving 20% only to be taken to Dandora. That means they're spending so little, they're saving so much, and they're becoming more professionals.
And then we as TakaTaka Solutions come to buy their organic waste and find them buyers for the recyclables and help them dispose the residual waste. What you can see here is first the waste is coming in. It's then offloaded, its weight, because the youth group is paid per kilogram of organic waste delivered to the facility.
And the waste usually comes in with the hand cut. Then we sort. After sorting, we weigh the waste. After weighing, we start building the windrow. Then when building the windrow, we mix with some water and some structure. But when we have a lot of water, we just mix with structure only.
Windrow building means that you mix the organic waste with about 10% of structural material. Structural material is wooden material to create small air pockets and give space to allow for better aeration of the compost. Composting basically needs two things, air and water. So this structural material allows for the air component to better flow through the compost. Then the windrows are built up, and then consequently they're turned every week.
Then the first phase we usually turn after 1 week, the first phase. Then after five weeks we usually turn after 2 weeks. And on a daily basis we usually take the temperature before turning and after turning.
So maybe you can see here in the process how the windrow is turned from one to the other, which again helps for aeration. And then the windrows move down the facility. So once they're at the bottom of the facility, they're basically finished after 12 to 14 weeks, upon which they're then sieved with a 10mm sieve. And then we enter into quality control aspects. But even quality control aspects take place during the composting phase. We take temperatures twice a day, we take pH levels, and this is needed to ensure that the composting process is that the compost is well hygienized, that all bacteria which are not wanted are killed off, and also in order to comply with Kenyan as well as European composting standards, which we are seeking accreditation for shortly. So we clearly want to maintain European compost standards here, which are amongst the world highest, but also in order just to provide a good product to farmers and be able to sell it, at a decent price.
Yeah, to me I can say there is a change a lot, because before people didn't know how to separate the waste, but now they can now separate the waste. Even we are giving them the bins, they are happy with the bins. So on my side I can say it's a very big change in this community. Even we are willing to go and spread the message to other areas.
Okay, the big step next will be to engage more youth groups. That will mean that more youth now will find employment, which is a major crisis in Kenya. So that will be big for the youth and also for TakaTaka Solutions.
So we hope that maybe if you are going to be with them together, you support them bigger so that they bring big containers now.
Cooperation has been so good between the market and the TakaTaka Solutions. And I think we are the luckiest people in Nairobi, rather in Kenya, because I have not had any other place that has been given such a service. Thank you very much.
So what TakaTaka Solutions is doing is making waste collection in lower income areas completely sustainable on a private sector basis. So there's no subsidies or no support from a government side needed to sustain our waste collection services in those areas. And in that, we are a global pioneer in making that possible, that waste collection services become a private sector undertaking which can sustain itself in a lower income area while at the same time creating employment for youth groups and indirectly making the environment in those areas cleaner.